Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't seen the two other videos about me being abused, they will be linked down below because you kind of need to see those to know about this, because this is like the next part in the story, except I'm making it its own video, I guess, and not like a part 3, but it technically is. This is after everything that went down at Roberta's house. So when I was at Miguel's and we got that, like, you know, DHS got involved and they're like, you need to get out now, and yeah, you definitely need to watch the other two videos to understand. Anyways, DHS placed me with Miguel and his dad, and I feel like that was a mistake on DHS's part because they put Miguel and I in a pretty bad situation, because what 17-year-olds live together? It's not like we had a son at that point or I was pregnant. It was just under the circumstances we were like had to live together. And honestly, Miguel and I did not do well living together as teenagers. We argued a lot and some stuff went down where I don't want to talk about, and it will never be talked about on this channel just because it's too personal to talk about, and you know, it's not necessarily necessary information in these stories. So anyways, Miguel had to live with his mom and we weren't allowed to see each other for a while. During that time it was very lonely for me. And sorry, I live right next to some train tracks, so you're gonna hear trains. But anyways, it was, excuse me, you done? No? What is this hair? My hair has been really gross lately. Don't look at it, don't judge it. This is 2 days of it not being washed, honestly, and the hair just, it needs help. It needs some Jesus. When Miguel and I weren't allowed to see each other, I was honestly very lonely. I had, you know, friends during the school year, but when summer rolls around, nobody's your friend, or at least in my case, like, nobody ever hit me up, wanted to hang out with me. Honestly, I only hung out with one friend that summer, and we went to go see a movie together while I was having a migraine, so it wasn't even that fun. Like, I was falling into this like depressed state of mind again though, and that was just from how lonely I was, because I pretty much spent an entire summer alone. I grew very close to Miguel's dad. I used to be really shy around him. Like, Miguel's dad would give us rides to and from places, and I just want to talk to him because it's like I'm an awkward teenager and I don't want to talk to you because it's scary. But eventually me and Miguel's dad's name is Tino, we grew closer. I was telling him everything that's happened to me, and he would work, I think during this, I don't know, during this time, I think he was probably working days, because I remember being alone all day. But he was working a lot. I know for a fact he had like Friday nights off, and on Fridays after he was done working, we go do something special, like go to Rocket Fizz in Old Town and then Pinball Jones and play some games. And that was honestly my highlight of every week, and it was like repetitive every Friday. And pretty much every Friday, Miguel's sister, so Miguel's mom is in Arvada and Miguel was living with his mom and sister, but anyways, every Friday Miguel's sister Adrienne would come down, and she was like my only other human contact. I wasn't even seeing my siblings much during the summer either, honestly. Like I said, it was very lonely, but I looked forward to Fridays because that's when Adrienne was there, and we'd have so much fun going to Rocket Fizz and then going to this Nepal shop and giving the lady candy. and I just wanted to point out that during this time Miguel and I were still together. Like, we hadn't broken up when he, like, when stuff went down, he had to go live with his mom and we weren't seeing each other. We were still together though. It was just for each other's safety while we weren't seeing each other, or just for each other's sanity, I guess, really. I wasn't entirely alone though, because where we were living, we had this neighbor in the backyard, which was a weird setup. Well, we'll just say her name was Anna. I became very, very close to her. She became like a mother-like figure to me. And I feel like she reminded me of my mom in a way because the kind of crazy she was, I don't know how to put it. Like, she wasn't like a bad crazy, but she was just like loud. And, you know, she had her own real life problems. But anyways, she had 3 kids. One of them lived with her parents, and 2 of them were young boys, and she'd had me watch them a lot, and I would, because I wasn't doing anything, and this was like my only other human contact. And I loved her kids, like, but sadly me and her had a fallout, and this is like way later on in the story, which will be a different video of its own. This happened when I was in foster care, when me and her had a fallout. But at this point, I'm just in kinship with Miguel's dad, like kinship care. So I would end up sleeping at her house a lot sometimes. So I did that, and plus she had air conditioning, and it was really nice because Tino did not, and the AC was just so good. And it gave me human contact, and it gave me like something to do during the summer, so I didn't mind it too much. I mean, there was sometimes I felt like she was using me a bit to watch her kids, and she knew I'd say yes because I'm not typically someone that says no even when I don't want to do something. Anyways, Tino ended up not being able to afford rent anymore where we lived because his rent got higher. And I hope he's okay with me mentioning this because he feels like people judge him for when he can't afford things, but it's like, honestly, no one can afford anything in Fort Collins. Sometimes I feel like it's really expensive at Fort Collins, and the price of houses and just rent in general, they just keep going up. They like keep flying through the roof. So we ended up having to move in with his dear friend David. And David's house was a 2-bedroom, but the living room was like set up in a way where Tino can like make his own bedroom. So I had like the actual bedroom with a door, and then David had his own room because, you know, it was his place. But so in order for us to move to Loveland, I obviously had to switch schools. I was originally going to Fort Collins High School, and I had to go to Loveland High, which was really depressing because I really did like Fort Collins High School. And the entire time I was at Loveland High School, I hated it because I didn't like the way the school was. I couldn't become friends with anybody there. I didn't feel that kind of connection to anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. It's just a really weird point in my life, like, where I was just very antisocial. So a lot of that was just me hanging out in my room alone, watching Netflix, reading, just doing normal Jasmine things. At some point, Miguel and I broke up because he was working full-time and he never made time to see me. And when he did have time and I said that his dad could take me there to see him, he never wanted me to come. So at this point, I was just over it, and I'm like, it doesn't even feel like a relationship anymore. And I mean, it really wasn't at that point. And it was sad. Around this time, though, that Miguel and I weren't together, I feel like, yeah, it was like as soon as me and Tino moved into David's house. I just say his name funny, his name's David, but you know, I had a social worker and everything, and she'd see me sometimes, and eventually I got into Matthew's house. And while I was at Tino's house, eventually they put me in foster care so I could qualify for benefits that would help me like move out, live on my own, and like help me with college and everything like that. So I think they put me in foster care a little before I turned 18, if I'm right. But yeah, but anyways, Matthew's house is this organization here in Fort Collins, and they really are helpful. My social worker at the time felt like being with Miguel's dad wasn't the best placement for me because she thought I should be in a home with girls that understand girl things, that could help me get my license and help me learn to drive, which actually didn't even happen like while I was in like my foster home. But anyways, I agreed because what got to me was they said that Alora, my sister, would be in this foster home, and it sounded really nice to live with my sibling. So therefore, I did do it. The next video will be about me moving in with my foster parents, and just look out for that video. It will be called something along the lines like my foster care story, I'm pretty sure. So stay tuned and thank you for watching.